So, hello friends. Today we are going to see actual fuel air cycle. In actual fuel air cycle or actual cycle, what it make it different from the fuel air cycle or air standard cycle. So, first is the working substance. In air standard cycle, we assume that working substance is a pure air and that air is behave like a ideal gas. But in actual cycle, our working fluid is not a pure air. It is a mixture of fuel and air. If it is a petrol engine, then it is a mixture of petrol vapors and air. If it is a diesel engine, then it is a mixture of air and atomized fuel, which is injected with the help of injector. So the first difference is in actual cycle, that is a working substance or working fluid. So in actual cycle, we are actually considering air fuel mixture. Next is heat addition. In air standard cycle, we assume that when we add heat, so we use a heat reservoir, heat source, which is attached to the cylinder, and then from heat source to air, heat is transferred. When we want to reject the heat, then we attach a heat sink. So heat energy will extract from air and deliver to the heat sink. But in actual cycle, we get a heat with the help of burning of our fuel air mixture, that is a combustion. Okay, now when we do a combustion, so prior to combustion there is a different composition of material. That means fuel and air mixture having a different chemical composition. But after combustion, after burning, whatever be the exhaust gases are different chemical compositions. Okay, so in fuel air mixture, so air will be there, fuel composition will be there, but after combustion all the exhaust gases may having a CO emission, CO2 emission, NOx emission, SO2 emissions, even the water vapor. So number of components are there in exhaust gases. So actual happening is there, that is before and after combustion there is a changes in composition of working fluid. Next, variation of specific heat with a temperature and dissociation of product of combustion divert cycle from ideal cycle. It means in air standard cycle, we assume that specific heat remain constant throughout the cycle. That means it may be a compression, it may be a expansion. So it is irrespective of temperature change. So whether the temperature rises or drop, specific heat, that is Cp and Cv, will remain constant. But in actual cases, it is never remain constant. With respect to temperature, specific heat will changes, and that phenomena is considered in our actual cycle, actual fuel air cycle. Now the next point is burn gases at outlet and fresh mixture at inlet have different composition, pressure and temperatures. So as I said, air standard cycle is assumed as a closed cycle. So whatever be the air entrapped in the cylinder, it is remain inside the cylinder. Its composition is not going to change. Air remain as a air, even compression or even in expansion. But in actual cycle, it is not a closed cycle, it is an open cycle. Why open cycle? Because we are taking in that air fuel mixture from outside to the system. That means piston cylinder arrangement. So there is a mass exchange across the boundary of system. Then that mass get burned and exhaust gases are removed out again from the system and delivered to the atmosphere. That means there is a mass exchange. So it is not a closed cycle, it is an open cycle. And of course at inlet, whatever be the suction pressure, temperature is there, so it is different. And during exhaust, definitely temperature will be high, pressure will be high. So on this parameter, pressure and temperature, also inlet and exhaust condition are different. Next, compression and expansion process are not adiabatic, since there is a heat loss from the system and surrounding. So in air standard cycle, even though in fuel air cycle, we assume that the compression and expansion are adiabatic. What do you mean by adiabatic? So whatever be the heat generated by burning of fuel air mixture, that heat remain inside that mixture only. It is not transferred to the cylinder wall. It means even though you work that cycle for a number of hours, then also your engine will be remain as it is. There will be no any temperature change. But this is not happen in an actual cycle. If you run engine for some time, you observe that your engine get heated. That means whatever be the heat inside that burning gases, it is delivered to the cylinder wall. That means your expansion or compression process is not adiabatic. So normally it is a polytropic, because adiabatic process is not possible. So the process followed during compression and expansion in actual cycle, it is a polytropic process. Next is the valve do not open and close instantaneously. That means at a fraction of second, valve will not be open or closed. Why? Because all the valve and operating mechanism is a mechanical kind of linkages. So that cam will be push your valve in, so that it will be slowly open, and when valve going to close, so spring tension will it close it slowly and then fully close. That's when there is a time lag. It is not happen at exact BDC or TDC, and it is not happen in a fraction of second. It takes some time. Okay, so that is actual case which is considered in actual cycle. And next is suction and exhaust process are carried out at below and above atmospheric pressure. So this point, suction and exhaust process, I will explain in a next slide, where we will see PV and TS diagram for theoretical and actual. Okay, so and last point, there are always friction and leakage power losses. So friction, so definitely even though you provide any kind of lubrication, still there is a friction between piston and cylinder. So by providing lubrication, we can minimize the friction, but we can't eliminate the friction. Okay, so friction cannot be zero. There is a friction definitely. Then leak of power losses. So whatever be the power generated in an engine, that power is used to run some other parts, other devices, just like water pump, cooling water pump, or even a alternator, or even your AC. So all these power losses called as a leakage of power losses. Okay, so all these happenings take place in actual cycle, and we have to consider all these actual happening when we said this cycle is behave like actually. Okay, now what is a theoretical and actual Otto cycle? So here, as I said, that second last point I am going to explain here. So this is a closed loop. So at 0 point here, when pistons start moving from TDC to BDC, so suction will be there, and from outside to inside the cylinder, fresh air fuel mixture gets sucked. Okay, and as per the theoretical PV diagram, it is observed that this suction process from 0 to 1 is throughout at atmospheric pressure. Then after 1, there will be adiabatic compression up to 0.2. That means when pistons start moving from BDC to TDC, so compression takes place, and this compression is a adiabatic compression. Then after 2 point, there is a heat addition. So heat addition up to 2 to 3, but 2 and 3 if we observe, so it is a constant volume process. And remember, piston never stop at a TDC, so that the heat addition process will be completed, then it will move. No, it is always in motion. So for us, 1 point it will reach to TDC, again move out. So it is a fraction of second where it reached TDC. It is not going to settle down or stop there so that the heat addition will be take place at a constant volume. No, it is continuously moving. So in theoretical, we assume that there is a constant volume heat addition. After heat addition, 3 to 4 is expansion process. Again, it is assumed that it is adiabatic expansion. This is also not happen in actual. And as soon as exhaust valve open at point 4, due to high pressure, exhaust gases start moving out. But still, it is said 4 to 1 is a constant volume. That means at the end of power stroke, when piston reach to BDC, exhaust valve open and piston still at BDC, still excess pressure is removed. That means constant volume. So it is not happening because piston continuously moving. So again, this is a hypothetical case where constant volume heat rejection is not there. And then after, when piston again move from BDC to TDC, so whatever be the exhaust gases remain inside the cylinder, it will push out from the cylinder and it reach to 0 point. Then again cycle repeated. This is a theoretical. In this theoretical, we observe whatever be the net work. So this is a yellow shaded A, that is a area under this graph is a net area, because here suction and exhaust process happen at exact constant pressure, that is atmospheric pressure. But the question is that if you want to suck fresh air fuel mixture inside the cylinder, that means inside the cylinder there must be lesser pressure than outside. Then only suction take place. If both sides there is the same pressure, how that air fuel mixture going to come in cylinder? So there must be negative pressure. But here in theoretical, we assume that total suction process or total exhaust process is happening at constant atmospheric pressure. What is the actual PV diagram? So actual PV diagram look like this. So as I said, piston never stop at TDC or BDC. It is just for a point or for a fraction, it touch TDC and touch BDC. Now here in actual cycle, when piston start moving from TDC to BDC, so due to piston movement inside the cylinder, there is a negative pressure. That means this pressure line is lesser than this atmospheric. So there is a negative pressure, so that outside fresh air fuel mixture suck inside the cylinder. And as soon as this cylinder going to filled, its pressure going to rise, and when it balance, that means when it reach to atmospheric, then incoming of any fresh air fuel mixture gets stopped, and this is happening at BDC. So this suction process is take place below atmospheric pressure. So atmospheric pressure is this one dotted line, but actual complete suction process take place below atmospheric. So this is a suction process. Then after compression started, and this compression ends when piston reach to TDC, but this compression does not follow the adiabatic compression, PV raised to the power n. That means this compression is a polytropic process. And before it reach to TDC, ignition, spark is ignited before TDC. We know that how wall timing diagram, where we observe that spark is produced before piston reach to TDC. So spark is produced here at this point, and then spark develop the flame. That flame going to burn the gases, but still piston moving towards TDC. So pressure is increases, piston is increases, and then after whatever be the burning gases take place, so that burning of fuel going to add the heat. So this heat addition ends at point 3. That means at point 3, almost all fuel get burned. So after that, whatever be the fuel burn, so it is try to expand. That expansion force is applied on piston. So expansion stroke happens, and this is expansion process. And again, expansion does not take place adiabatically because heat is transferred to cylinder wall. That means it is a polytropic process, not adiabatic. So from 3 to 4, it is a polytropic process. Then 4 to 4 dash, it is an exhaust, but this exhaust process not happening because of piston movement, but because of excess pressure of exhaust gases. So as soon as exhaust valve start opening due to excess pressure, exhaust gas is moving out, and then after piston movement from this 4 to 0, this actual pushing out the exhaust gases, but still remain all exhaust gases having a higher pressure than atmospheric. So all the exhaust process, this upper curve is always above the atmospheric. That means in actual cycle, complete suction take place below atmospheric pressure because there must be negative pressure. When we sip tea, then we create a vacuum so that the tea from our cup will be shifted to our mouth because we suck it, that is a negative pressure is created. So like that, in cylinder there is a negative pressure than atmospheric, so the fresh charge taken in, and during exhaust, the exhaust gas is having a tremendous pressure. So even though piston pushing out, but that all piston movement which is pushing out these hot and pressurized gases are always above atmospheric. So theoretically, we assume suction and compression take place at exact atmospheric pressure, but in actual it is not happening. Theoretically, we assume heat addition is at constant volume, heat rejection is at constant volume, but in actual it is never take place at a constant volume. Piston only reach for a small one point. It touches TDC and move on. Again, it touches BDC and move on. Okay. Now, in theoretical, we have only one area, that is work done. If I am going to calculate on graphically, so there is a net work done equals to A, but in actual there is a two loops, A1 and A2. A1 is the work obtained and A2 is a work supplied. Why work supplied? Because during suction we have to move our piston against the vacuum. So whatever be the gas pressure is there, so we have to move our piston from TDC to BDC against that gas pressure to create a negative pressure. So it is work supplied activity because we are forcefully shifting our piston against negative pressure of, and in exhaust stroke we are pushing our piston against exhaust gas pressure to move out. That means during suction and compression we are supplying work. So this A2 is a negative work. So when we are calculating a net work, so A1 is a positive and A2 is a negative work. This is about a Otto cycle. Now we will see what happened in a theoretical and actual diesel cycle. In diesel cycle, again in theoretical case, we assume that suction takes place at constant pressure. Then 1 to 2 is a compression, adiabatic compression. Then heat addition takes place at constant pressure up to 3. Then 3 to 4 is a heat expansion process, but this expansion again we are assuming adiabatic. Then 4 to 1 is a constant volume heat rejection process, and after that 1 to again 0, it is a exhaust process where piston moving out all exhaust gases, and this exhaust process is take place at again atmospheric. This is the assume, that is a theoretical. But what happened actually? So actually again it reach and touch a TDC at a single point, it reach and touch BDC at a single point. It is never stopped there for heat addition. So even though here we see 2 to 3 is a heat addition at constant pressure, but in actual it is never happened. Piston continuously move. And as I explained, so suction stroke will be below atmospheric. So air will be taken in. Then 1 to 2 is a compression, and this compression is a polytropic process. Then as it is a diesel cycle, so we have to start our fuel injection. So fuel injection will start at this point before TDC, and as a fuel injected in a form of spray, it get vaporized, then mix and form a mixture, and then it's auto ignite and ignition started. But still fuel injection continues. So till the fuel injection continue, the heat addition continuously take place, because whatever be the fuel injected, it get mixed and burn, and heat is evolved. So when we cut off our fuel injection at point 3, then no any additional fuel is injected. So our heat addition process, we said it is over at point 3. Then after, whatever be the burning gases, they are try to expand, and this is expansion process. But this expansion process 3 to 4 again a polytropic, not adiabatic. Then when we open a exhaust gas, so self pressure, extreme high pressure of exhaust gases causes a removal of exhaust gas, so 4 to 4 dash. And then after, whatever be the pressurized exhaust gases are there, it is move out from the cylinder with the help of piston movement, and this take place above atmospheric. So again there are two loops, A1 is a positive and A2 is a negative, because A2 is the work which we require to suck the fresh air and to escape exhaust gases. So during this loop we have to supply work. Now there are some losses. What are the losses? So first is a time loss. So many times in a university exam it is asked, describe the various losses in actual cycle. So what are the losses? So first is the time loss. Now what is the time loss? So in ideal cycle, the heat addition process was assumed at constant volume. That is in theoretical cycle, we assume that heat addition takes place at constant volume. Whereas in actual cycle, the burning of fuel does not take place instantaneously. That means it is not take place exact at constant volume. It is continuous process. So heat addition started when we start fuel injection, and it ends when we start fuel, when we stop fuel injection. So fuel injection start point to fuel injection end point, this much time period there is continuous fuel injected into the hot compressed air and combustion take place. So heat addition is not instantaneously, it is having some duration of time. So during the combustion period, the gases experience a change in volume. The increased volume due to motion of piston result in lowering maximum pressure and less work on the piston. The power loss is known as a time loss. Now what happens if there is not a constant volume heat addition or constant pressure heat addition? So when burning is not take place instantaneously, that means at a particular instant complete fuel get burned. If it is not take place, so what happens? There is a fuel injection, burning start, piston going not going to stop anywhere. Okay, so piston is continuously moving, then it is moving downward, but still fuel burning is take place. Imagine if complete fuel burn take place at a constant volume at that TDC. So whole fuel when burned completely, so it having a tremendous pressure and all pressure will applied on a piston. But in actual, when piston moving approaching TDC, so some degree before TDC fuel injection start, still there is a compression. Then when it moving downward, till fuel injection continue, and after some time it is stopped. That means when it is moving down, fuel injection is there, but pressure rise is not that much because piston already start moving down. That means volume is increasing. So if complete fuel burn at a constant volume, we get a larger power, but if it is not, then the power output is less, and whatever be that lesser power, that is called as a time loss, because burning requires some time, it is not take place instantaneously. So that is called a time losses. Next loss is heat loss. Now, what is the heat loss? So in ideal compression or expansion process, where it is assumed that the process is adiabatic, where in actual process, all the compression and expansion process are not adiabatic. There is a heat transfer from that hot gases to the surrounding wall, cylinder wall. That's mean it is a polytropic process. So if there is a zero loss, that means zero heat is transferred to the cylinder wall. So whole heat generated by the burning of fuel will be utilized or will be available for the work done. But in actual case, whatever be the energy generated due to the burning of fuel, some energy is definitely transferred to the cylinder wall, pistons, and all the parts where it get heated, and that heat which is used for heating all the parts, it is not going to uh, that means it is not available for work output. So that leakage of heat or that leakage of power is known as a heat losses. So heat losses to the surrounding walls, cooling medium or piston. So all that heat which is not available for work output is counted as a heat losses. Now the exhaust blowdown losses. Now what happened? It is in ideal case it is assumed that exhaust wall open at exactly BDC and instantaneously. But in actual cycle, in a previous video when we observed that wall timing diagram, so in actual cycle exhaust wall open about 43 or 45 degree before TDC, and it is going to close after TDC 5 degree after TDC. So 45 degree before BDC when exhaust wall open. So as soon as it get open, so large pressure and temperature exhaust gas is moving out, blow out. If it is not there, then that whole pressure will be available to push down the piston. But due to the early opening of our exhaust gas, that exhaust gases which having a potential to do work get wasted, and that waste is called as blow down losses. And this is intentionally made, because if you are not going to open your exhaust valve before 45 degree or 43 degree, then inside the cylinder there is a tremendous pressure, and that pressure cannot be bear by piston or crankshaft. Everything will get damaged, bent, or even the thermal cracks will be there, or even overheating and seizing of piston will be there. So it is a requirement of design. So we open a exhaust valve before BDC. Okay. So we can't go for that. Okay, I will open exhaust valve and exit on BDC, so I will get a more output. No, that is a requirement of design of our engine. So we have to open exhaust valve before BDC. But whatever be the energy loss take place, that loss is considered as an exhaust blowdown losses. And then next, pumping losses. What is the pumping losses? So in a PV diagram, actual and theoretical, for auto and diesel both, I already explained suction and compression does not take place except at atmospheric pressures. For suction, we have to supply work where piston move against the vacuum, that is gas pressure, and during exhaust, piston move against the high pressure exhaust gases. So piston movement against that gas pressure where we have to supply work, that is called the pumping. And that work, that is shaded area A2, this work done is called a loss because it is a negative. We are not obtaining work, we have to supply this work. So this A2 area is called the pumping losses. So in ideal cycle, the suction and exhaust processes are assumed to be at atmospheric pressure, where in actual suction take place at below atmospheric pressure and exhaust take place at above atmospheric pressure, as some pressure differential is required to carry out the suction and exhaust process. Okay, so if inside the cylinder if there is not a negative pressure, then definitely from outside air fuel mixture will not be sucked in a cylinder. Therefore, some work is done on the inducted charge during suction and on burn gases during exhaust, and this work is called as pumping losses. So this work done is not obtained as an output. We have to supply it as an input. So this A2 area, shaded A2 area is called as a pumping losses. And the last one is the friction losses. As I said, in air standard and fuel air cycle, we assume that the piston movement or there is a zero friction, frictionless operation is there. But in actual, that is not the case. So whatever be the friction in between the piston and cylinder, even though we provide any kind of quality lubrication system, but still there is a friction, and to overcome that friction, we have to supply some, we have to lose some power. That is a friction loss. Again, in friction losses, we consider all that power losses which are occur to run some other accessories, auxiliary equipment, just like a radiator or coolant pump is there. So that pump will run from the engine power. Alternator is there, so that alternator will run from the engine power. A radiator fan is there, which is run by the engine power. Even though if we run our AC, so that AC also run from the engine power. So all these accessories or auxiliary equipments which are run from engine power. So engine power is lost to run this equipment. So the actual power which is available for driving our vehicle is lesser, and all these losses considered as a friction losses. So friction losses increases with the speed rapidly, because if higher speed is there, so obviously piston cylinder movement will be larger and high friction will be there. Again, higher speed, that means our auxiliary equipment should work at a faster rate, so larger power loss there. So friction losses cover